The exact moment I realized my own flesh and blood was tracking my every move did not involve a screaming match. It happened when I noticed the subtle shifting of things in my brand new home. Like a kitchen cabinet door left slightly unlatched or a jacket hung on the wrong hook. You see, normal families understand the basic concept of personal boundaries, but mine viewed a locked door as a personal challenge. I spent years thinking they crossed these lines because they cared too much, but the terrifying reality was that they simply wanted complete control over my existence. Before everything went completely off the rails, I honestly believed that moving away would fix the fractured relationship with my parents. I was 29 years old, yet my heart still hammered against my ribs whenever my cell phone buzzed with an incoming call from them. Growing up under their roof meant having zero privacy, as my mother would routinely rifle through my personal journals while my father just stood by and watched without saying a word. Meanwhile, my younger sister was treated like an absolute princess who could do no wrong, leaving me to navigate a suffocating double standard all on my own. When I finally signed the lease on a beautiful apartment overlooking the city skyline, I genuinely thought I had escaped that toxic environment. I spent weeks decorating the space exactly how I wanted, basking in the quiet comfort of an environment that belonged entirely to me. That brief flash of happiness shattered the day my mother used a fake emergency to trick my landlord into giving her a spare key. I came home from a long shift at work to find her casual cooking in my kitchen while my father skimmed through the private mail on my counter. The subtle intrusions rapidly escalated into a full-blown nightmare over the next few weeks as they began treating my home like a public community center. My sister would frequently wander into my place without asking, borrowing my expensive clothes, and leaving her dirty coffee cups rotting in my sink. The absolute final straw occurred when I discovered my personal laptop had been opened and someone had been snooping through my private work files. When I furiously called my mother to demand answers, she casually brushed off my anger by claiming that her invasive behavior was just a form of family support. Deeply shaken by the realization that my sanctuary had been totally compromised, I scheduled an emergency session with a licensed counselor the very next morning. She listened intently to my chaotic family history before gently explaining that this was not normal affection, but rather a severe case of psychological enmeshment. My therapist looked me dead in the eyes and told me that my current living situation was no longer emotionally safe. That powerful revelation sparked a sudden fire inside me, and I realized that the only way to survive was to plan a secret escape. Under the dark cover of midnight, two of my closest friends helped me pack my entire life into cardboard boxes while the rest of the city slept. We worked in complete silence because I knew that if my family caught wind of my plan, they would find a way to manipulate me into staying. I deliberately left behind any furniture or decorations they had purchased for me, wanting a clean break from their lingering influence. By 2 a.m, we loaded the final truck, and I dropped my old keys into the landlord's slot without leaving any forwarding address. My new building was a fortress equipped with high-tech security cameras, secure keycard elevators, and a 24-hour doorman stationed in the lobby. For the first 3 days, I kept my phone completely powered down, finally experiencing what it felt like to sleep through the night without a looming sense of dread. The absolute peace was intoxicating, but I knew the deep calm would not last forever against people who refused to accept a boundary. When I finally switched my phone back on, the screen exploded with dozens of frantic missed calls and disturbing missing person alerts. The situation turned incredibly surreal when a local police officer contacted me and requested my immediate presence down at the precinct for an urgent matter. It turned out that my family had actually attempted to scale the balcony of my old apartment building, prompting the terrified new tenants to call the cops on them. Walking into that cold interrogation room, I saw my mother weeping into crumpled tissues while my father angrily paced the floor. They immediately tried to guilt-trip me for disappearing, completely blind to the fact that their own unhinged actions had landed them in police custody. As the officer stood by quietly, I looked at my trembling parents and firmly stated that I moved away because they refused to respect my home. My sister tried to laugh it off as a simple misunderstanding, but the police officer sternly reminded them that forcing entry into a residence was a serious crime. When the officer offered to help me draft an official written boundary agreement, my mother gasped as if I had stabbed her in the chest. With a steady hand, I laid out my strict terms, stating we would only meet in public, and they would never access my home again. Realizing that they no longer held any power over my life, My defeated parents slowly signed the legal document with heavy sighs. My mother whispered that she deeply missed the days when I actually needed her guidance, but I calmly told her she could be in my life without being in my space. Walking out of that station into the crisp afternoon air, I felt a massive weight lift from my shoulders.